All right, welcome back to My Best Friend's an Engineer. I'm Lexi.
And I'm Libby.
And today we are doing the rest of the Q&A. We're also filming on our live, so it's like to the back of me right now, so I like keep looking back, but...
Hi, live people of the world.
They can't hear you, but they'll
If
hear you on
they can't
this.
hear me.
Yeah. but so we're gonna try a new tactic. I think it'd be fun to like film the episodes that we do only and get like some live action. That could be fun.
Yeah, some behind the scenes.
Some
so
behind the
that
scenes
people know
action.
that we're relatable off camera and on camera.
Oh yeah. All right.
So what kind of episode are we going to do today? Would you like to tell the listeners?
Well, we'll do the rest of the Q&A. We have some good...
That? Sorry.
I did.
Totally went right over my head.
It's okay. It happens. You had a long day. How was your week?
It was good. I went on another work trip this week to Tennessee, and I just got back from that last night. So left Monday night, got back last night, and then now tonight I'm going to drive to Minnesota after this, and then my sister's graduating college tomorrow. So that's what we'll be doing this weekend. So it's a really quick week.
Lots of travel.
It's already Friday, yeah.
It's Thursday.
oh my god. It's Thursday. Whoops.
It's alright. We won't make this one as long as our usual ones so that you could get going to Minnesota. How long is the drive?
About 5.5 hours. So it's pretty far because you pretty much have to go like all the way across the state of Wisconsin. Luckily, like University of Minnesota is right over the border, essentially, pretty much. I think.
Because when I was looking for schools, I feel like when I was visiting Madison, they were considering Minnesota students out of state or like the in-state. Oh yes. So that was so interesting.
There's like a reciprocity between Wisconsin and Minnesota, and so like if you live in Wisconsin but you go to a Minnesota school, I believe some of the schools you get in-state tuition even though you're from Wisconsin, and I think vice versa. I don't know.
Interesting. I was like, wow, why can't I live in Minnesota? They didn't take Illinois people. I was like, damn.
I think there might be one for like Illinois, Iowa, and Indiana, but probably not. I don't know. I feel like I just made that up in my head, but
all of the Midwest, just one state.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing this week. How was your week? Anything fun for work going on?
It was not bad. So so we talked about how like the toxic older coworkers last time.
Yes, that was a good topic last time.
It was a good topic, but I'm dealing with a frustrating situation at work where it's just they're getting frustrated with the validation requirements, and it's like one of the older colleagues of mine, so that has been interesting trying to deal with, but I just thought it was relevant. I thought it was funny because I was like, oh my god, we literally just talked about this last week. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys tuned in next week. I don't know when we'll film next, but we'll see because it just happened today. I was like, you can't do that. So like they're trying not to tell a different department that they want to change like the validation strategy, and I'm like, no, like we can't do that. I was like, oh my gosh. So we'll see what happens. But
you'll have to give us an update on how you like handle that, because I don't know. I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
So I don't know, because I feel like if they change it, we'll be able to run the validation right away. But if we don't change it, then we'll have to wait a month to run the validation, and they don't want to do that because they're paying for like a rental unit for the equipment we're validating. So fun, because I get like it makes sense on their end, business wise and like practicality wise to run it. But I'm like, we have to talk to them, like we have to tell them at least, like we have to. It's not brain surgery. Brain surgery will like find a justification for it and like be able to. People. Yeah, but I'm like, you can't just sneak it in. I was like, oh my god. I was like, you're like an older man. I was like, you can't act like a child. I'm not saying he's acting like a child, but I was like, oh my god. So it was just funny. I was like, I can't believe I'm dealing with this right now. So we'll find a way. I'm like, we'll definitely run the validation right away because people need it to be done. But I was like, just don't go about it that way. So that was just kind of funny because I'm like, oh my gosh.
Situation's
so fun.
It's just like, so what do you do? You'll have to tell us. Yeah, that is definitely a relevant topic from last week.
Yeah, because I have to tell them, like older people. I'm like, I was like, this is not gonna go well. So So, other than that, though, the week's been good. It's been so hot here. I don't know how it is in Wisconsin.
I know, it's finally warmer. Like, today was 90 degrees, and I went to work in jeans and, like, a sweatshirt because it's cold inside, but then when I walked outside, I was, like, hit by a wall of heat.
Yeah. No, it literally skipped from nice-ish to middle of July weather. I was like, literally. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, other than that, though, yeah, I had a wedding last weekend. That was fun.
Yeah, you got to wear your shawl.
My little shawl. My little matching shawl. It was a hit. Everyone loves it. I was like, oh thank you, Amazon. It's like, yeah. Amazon, go check it out. But yeah.
I totally get what you're saying about the coworker situation. Like, you know, with my new job, I'm trying to figure out, like, what my place is, you know? And, like, kind of to observe how the role interacts with the other roles, I guess, in my department. And I was, like, trying to create a schedule for something. And one of the older gentlemen called me and was like, he wasn't yelling by any means or lecturing me. He was just telling me that I can't make a design change. And I don't think he understood that I, like, was just making a schedule. And so I just got off that call before I came onto here. Like, I was making schedules in Microsoft Project for, like, multiple different scenarios so that if we had to have a conversation on what scenario we wanted to go with, I could be like, oh, here's a schedule so we can evaluate the choices.
And look at you being proactive.
Right, and like my boss told me to do this, and the guy was like telling me that I can't make a design change, and I was like, oh, I think there's some miscommunication. I'm not making a change, I'm just making a schedule. It was like,
you're like, I'm changing the organization of things. You're like, we're gonna be more organized this time.
Well, not even like organized. He thought that because I did make a scenario where like something did change, and he was like, you can't do that. And I was like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just making a schedule. Like, yeah. I haven't even finalized it yet or anything. Like, I didn't even send it out to anybody. I was literally just making it on my own, just trying to be helpful. And
interesting. So how did he see it? Did he just like, was it like a shared drive or?
So I sent an email to a different position asking for input, just being like, I'm trying to get this theoretical schedule, you know, a little bit more accurate. What do you think? And he like tied this guy in and was like, well, I can't answer that question, but this guy can. And then when he saw the email, he called me and he was like, what are you doing? Why are you making a design change? And I was like, I was so confused. I was like, what? Like, yeah. I'm just a new person trying to help. I don't know what you're talking about. So, totally get what you're saying with, like, the older coworker thing.
Yeah. Because, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But, so week 3, what do you think?
Week 3 is good. Yeah, I mean, it's been good. It's hard to start a new job and, like, get thrown into the middle of a project and you don't, like, I don't know. I personally, like, I don't want to step on anyone's toes, you know? Mm-hmm. But also, like, I don't know what I don't know. So I am kind of playing that weird game where I'm like, is this the right person to talk to? Am I doing the right thing? Like, is this my responsibility? So kind of, like, just trying to figure those things out, which that'll come with time. But I feel like in any new job, you know, you go through that time period where you're like, am I doing this right? Or is someone going to yell at me?
Yeah, I feel like there's always a little learning curve.
Yeah.
So.
But
also, I'm overheating right now.
Oh no.
Speaking of how hot it is, I'm like, I don't know how many people are on the live. I keep looking back. Okay, sorry. I digress.
It's literally 90 degrees outside. This is the first time we've turned on the air conditioning at the house because, well, we bought the house like last fall, so I feel like we didn't really use the air conditioning. Obviously, we used the heat for winter, but now this is the first time we're using the air conditioning, and it is blasting. So
yeah, I am like, oh my god, I think someone left a window open upstairs because I'm why is it like 20,000 degrees up here? I'm also drinking a 7-Up. I really want to do that TikTok challenge where you can't burp.
What is this TikTok? I'm so behind.
We have to do it.
What is this TikTok challenge?
You have to chug a whole Sprite without burping. I wouldn't do it now,
love
obviously.
That. A spicy
naturally,
water.
But a spicy water, yeah. That's what we used to call it in undergrad for anyone that doesn't know. I said,
Yes.
Good morning, let's go get spicy waters.
Anytime I felt hungover, I knew a spicy water would cure my brain fog.
It works.
All right, with that, I think we can probably get into the episode. We are going to just do some quick house cleaning, as we like to call it. We do have a Google form in the show notes below, so check that out. You can be entered in a giveaway for a $100 Visa gift card. All you have to do is leave a review or share the podcast, take a screenshot, enter it in the Google form, and plus you get 3 free templates, professional development type templates for that. So, Lexi, I think we're gonna read DMs today of how the podcast has helped other people.
Yes. Okay, so it didn't send to my email, and my
Oh,
my
no.
phone's on the live. Do you want to just read both of them?
Okay, I'll just read both of them.
Perfect.
Okay. So we have 2 DMs we want to read out. This person left us a comment on, what was that, episode 17 for the co-ops?
Yes, with Miranda.
Yes, with Miranda. This person said, UC is seriously the best. The co-op program here is so much fun. I'm currently on my first rotation at a medical device company as a second year.
Amazing. I love that
cool.
we were, I love that we were able to, create a relevant episode for some of the listeners.
Yeah, and hopefully we could provide some insight for people who don't know about the UC program. Okay. I will pull up the next one. So our next review to read out is this person said, "Hey y'all, I just started listening to your podcast and I just wanted to say how incredible it is to see who women in STEM, just like my best friend and I are. Thank you so much for making these." I think it's so cool that so many people have, it's not like millions of people, but people have like reached out to us being like, oh my gosh, I totally relate to that. And I don't know what my expectations were when we started this podcast, but it's just kind of cool to see like real people actually listen to this and actually are like, oh yeah, I like your podcast.
I know. And I like that she said her best friend is also an engineer because the name is so relevant.
Yeah, just
How
like the
cute.
name of the pod.
Yeah, how cute.
So amazing. And again, thank you guys so much for giving us feedback. I think especially in like the first year of us doing this podcast, we really don't know what we're doing and we're just trying to figure out how to run this. And so the more feedback we can get, and if you guys like it, let us know on the Apple reviews. We love reading those.
Yes. All right. Shall we get into it?
Yeah. Okay, so we are just going to do a continuation, essentially, of the Q&A. We always get so many questions, and like we said in the last episode, we're chatty Cathys, and sometimes we don't get through too many questions. So the first one we're going to go through is going through all of the school work worth it? What do you think, Lexi?
I would say yes. In conclusion, I'll go into details, but definitely. So to give some background, and I kind of talked about it before, I was pre-med going in. I definitely knew I wanted a degree that I could, have as a backup if I didn't want to pursue med school, which thank God, because I do not want to. Don't want to pursue it anymore. And I guess we can do a separate episode of like why maybe we decided not to continue with school, or maybe like, why we might in the future. And I was thinking if I did go to medical school, I would not change my major still. Mm-hmm. Like if I had a 100 guarantee I would be a doctor, I would still choose chemical engineering as my major. I don't know why, but I feel
what else would you choose though? Like biology or like?
Yeah, because that's what the usual.
Like
I feel like that's what the usual path is, but I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like I just have had such a good experience, and it gave me so many tools and like, and knowledge in general that I was like, even if I do go to med school, I would still become an engineer.
And I feel like you still need problem solving. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I would think you would still need some level of problem solving.
I think so. Yeah. So I think so. I mean, I know it's tough, but like another thing that I wanted to touch on is how much you're able to do with an engineering degree. So.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's tough, but it's tough for 4 years, and then you can go into business. You can go into, become a financial analyst. If you go and pursue a master's in finance, there's like so many different options as well. And like, you don't have to be an engineer. So it's tough for 4 years, but it gives you so much flexibility after. I think it definitely is worth it. How about you, Libby?
Yeah, I think so. And, we talked about this a little bit when we were talking in episode 19 about not liking physics. And, if you're feeling that you're in a time where all your classes just feel really, really overwhelming, I would challenge you to just buckle down and get through that semester and know that better days are coming, better days are ahead. And I totally agree with what you're saying, how even if you maybe think you don't necessarily like engineering, I mean, obviously, don't do something that's making you unhappy, but, it just provides you such a, I don't know, I feel like employers, no matter what job you're applying for, especially if it's not something in engineering in the future, they see, oh, wow, you have an engineering degree, they just automatically know you're good at problem solving and can be an asset to, their team, and would certainly set you apart from other candidates for sure.
Definitely.
But,
so, yes, everyone,
Yes, I agree. It is worth it.
Yeah, it's funny because everyone that always asks, you ask someone if they would recommend, becoming a doctor, pursuing medical school, or pursuing law school, and they always say no. They're like, don't do it. And that is what I've seen, on TikTok as well. Always referencing TikTok. I've been spending way too much time on it, but, and you always see these stories, and just, even family friends, they always say no, and then they ask me, should my daughter go into engineering? I'm like, 100%.
100%.
I don't know, it's just so weird because, even my friends that are in business or something, they're like, oh, don't do what I do, it's so boring, or, I'm very unhappy. So, I don't know, I'm just, happy that I'm able to say yes and encourage these people to go into engineering. So,
yeah,
that's just something I've noticed as well. I don't know, maybe I'm I don't know, maybe it's normal to not really enjoy your job, but I'm like, might as well. I mean, you spend so much time there, so.
Well, it's all about, mindset. We've touched on this on the podcast talking about our goals too. You get out of a experience or a job what you put in. If you go to your work every day saying, I hate this. This is so hard. I can't believe I have to work for money. Well, yeah, then at the end of the day, you're going to be really frustrated that that's where you work. But I think also, if you get your engineering degree, if that's what you choose to pursue and overcome and accomplish, when you do get that degree, I don't know, I just felt so much pride knowing how hard it was, and knowing there were so many times where I did almost change my major, and it was for me personally, just such a sign of accomplishment, just being wow, this was so hard. There were so many times when I didn't think this was right for me, or I didn't want to be here because it was hard, or I felt uncomfortable, and I just pushed through all of that, and I have a piece of paper that says I did it. I don't know, there's a certain pride, I feel that comes with getting your engineering degree.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
awesome.
Hopefully
so in summary,
those answers were
yes.
helpful.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, though, if anyone listening to this, if you have any other input, if you don't suggest, don't encourage people to go into engineering, I want to, I'm curious.
Yeah,
tell us why, yeah. Because I'm always, curious to see, if people go to law school, I always am curious why they say no, and it's a lot of the times it's they're very overworked, and you have to, fight for your clients and all that stuff, but, I don't know, it's just interesting to hear about a different industry when you're working something else, so yeah, let us know.
Yeah. And you know what? Hopefully, if you're still unsure, continue listening to the podcast, because we've spoke to so many women already who have jobs that I didn't even know were jobs when I was in college. And, maybe you can find, maybe you can hear from someone's experience that is something you didn't even know was possible. And, maybe that's something you end up doing.
True. You can always make a career change, just like Libby did.
You can always change your career. Okay. Next question?
Yes. Tips on finding new girlfriends as an engineer. I feel like I'm only interacting with old men. This is a good one.
Preaching to the choir. We get it.
Yes. What do you think?
The difference between my last company and my current company is that my last company, there certainly were women there, but, if you were strictly comparing the percentage of women to men, there was definitely a lower percentage of women in my last role than there is in this role. And, I don't know, I think there are other ways to connect with women in your industry outside of your job. Maybe it's through a volunteer organization. For me, personally, I found a huge community through social media and, found other people online who have a similar job to me, even if I couldn't necessarily find that camaraderie that I was looking for within my role. Or, you can join organizations like, I know we had Vanessa on and we had Chloe on, and they were both members of American Society of Civil Engineers. Typically, national organizations like that will have chapters that are local or close enough to where you live where, maybe look into one of those, join one of those. You can find, I'm sure, so many, members that you could connect with there. But I don't know, I totally see what this person is saying, how if you don't have many women at your company, like how, it's almost like impossible. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, okay, so I completely agree with everything that you said. I mean, it's so hard, like, maybe there's, women in a different department, that could be good to kind of try and connect that way. Like, maybe you have, like, for example, that women's resource group that I kind of briefly talked about where we were trying to make that mentorship program. Like, I'll be working with a lot of different, women in marketing and finance, so I'm excited for that, so I can speak on that a little bit later. But also go check out our Facebook group, our Instagram, our little community that we're trying to build up. I think our Facebook group has been doing really well because someone, I think, posted a resume. I'm, like, so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh. So
yeah,
I would suggest...
I always forget about Facebook. But that's so true. It's such a good resource.
Yeah, so like you said, you were able to find your community through social media, which is what we're trying to do. So go check that out if, unfortunately, you don't have too many women, maybe in even different departments as well, or maybe there is like a age gap, which can get kind of weird. But I feel like women across all ages, I feel like we're so nice and friendly. So I don't know.
Yeah, when I worked at my co-op and my internship, it was kind of the same where there weren't really any women in the department that I was interning or co-oping for. However, like, I put myself out there and I made friends with, like, the marketing interns, and there was, like, 3 really good girls that I met through that, and like, we ended up being friends, and it was someone at work that I could, like, say hi to and talk to and, like, vent to and, just make friends with. And I guess when I did that, I reached out to the HR woman and asked if I could put together, like, a weekly lunch get-together for the interns. So we just met, like, at the cafeteria of my the lunchroom at my company, and I sent out, like, a Google invite to everybody, and people started showing up, and, by the end of the summer, you make friends with those people. So kind of similar to, like, your women's group. Maybe there's something that you can do within your company to, like, if it doesn't exist, maybe you can create it.
Look at you being proactive.
Heck yeah. We love that. Any other tips you think to, I don't know, I feel like this person said, I feel like I'm only interacting with old men. I think too, like, I don't want to say that you have to accept it, but, like, it is, like, something that comes with working in this industry. I don't know, what do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised at my old role. I know I talk about it so much, but how many young people I was working with initially. But this one, I definitely have been working with older people in general. Yeah. So I have, like, less of, like, the gossip. Oh my god. Did you see my AirPod? This happened all of the time.
So I know, that's why I'm always touching them. We need to get, like, the Air Max headphones that just sit over your head.
The pink ones. Oh my god, if they have pink ones, you should get those.
Expense.
Yeah. No, it was funny because every time I would walk into class, and now it's weird, and I feel like I'm underwater now. When it's like, every time I'd walk to class, remember I would say hi to you, and I'd, like, smile, and it would just pop out. Like, I don't know what's wrong with my ears, but oh my god, so embarrassing. But okay, sorry. I just lost my train of thought.
Working with people that aren't, old men.
Less gossip. So, like, there's less, chit-chat on the side, which is good because it's, more productive. But, unfortunately, it just makes it less fun. Like, there's less camaraderie. But, again, unfortunately, that is something you'll have to accept. But nowadays, I feel like, especially with social media, there are ways to get around it. So, like you said.
Hopefully that can help out with that question. And if you have any further, like, questions or you're struggling even more, feel free to let us know either through a podcast review or emailing us, and we will do our best to give our best advice based on our careers, or 3 years of
experience. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to introduce the next question?
Yes. Okay, so this next question is, what was your favorite class and why?
Ooh, I have a good answer for this. I'm curious to see what you're gonna say.
Okay, so mine.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I can't.
Wait, should we guess? Should we guess what each other we're gonna say?
I'm gonna be so wrong. Okay. But yeah, what do you think I'm gonna say?
Okay, I think. Oh, thermo.
Close.
Okay.
Yours is mass transfer?
Oh God, I hated that one. That's the one. That's what I took with Sophie. I took the one with Sophie, and Sophie wouldn't stop talking to me during class. She'd be like, "Do," and I'd like get so stressed because the professor was like looking at us, and like I think he could tell how like flustered I was getting that she kept talking to me, and I felt so bad because I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want her to think like I'm being mean," but like I was like, "He's gonna hate us if we keep talking." But she was like, I think it was like her second semester senior year. She was checked out. She's like, "I don't care."
Yeah.
But it was so funny.
Sophie and I were like that when we took physics, and we ended up getting the professor a cake at the end of the year that said sorry. Yeah. Because he always would just shoot us a look because we were like, "Ooh, sorry." But that's so funny. See, I knew my guess was gonna be wrong.
Yeah, no. Mine is biochem. I loved it. It was like. So okay, this person asked why it was our favorite class.
Wait, was this an elective or was this part of your? Like, was it a technical elective or was it part of your...
So, I think technically it could be considered an elective, but my concentration was biochem, so I needed to take it because of the biochem concentration.
Okay.
If I did, like, environmental, I wouldn't need to take it, or I think maybe it was an option, but, like, there's another concentration. It was, like, pulp and paper, which I was like, no, thank you. I will write on it. I don't want to make it. It's like, no way. But, and then, it was, like, environmental and then, like, general chem. So I picked it because of that, but it was just, like, so easy after, like,
the class.
It was just, because I took Orgo 2 right before, and this was, like, a breath of fresh air. Like, the professor was awesome. Like, it was just, like, so chill. And it was, like, mixing concepts that I actually liked from physics and, like, chem. Like, it was, like, a mix of everything, in my opinion. Ooh. So, and bio, I was, like, in heaven. I was like, oh, my God. But, So, biochem and then... it was biophysical chem.
Ooh.
So that completely changes it. Biochem was fine.
What semester did you take that? What year?
My second semester, junior year.
Oh, why am I not remembering this? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But it was... So, biophysical chem was my favorite class. Biochem is a completely different one. But that was, like, memorization. That was still fine. But it was, like... That was, like, a pre-med one. But they were still both within my biochem technical or concentration. So,
I feel like the professor makes or breaks it. You said you had a good professor
100%.
For that one?
Yeah.
He
was so pleasant. I was like,
Aww.
But how about you? So, what was your favorite? Did you say it, or did you just...
Oh, well, okay, so thermo was a close second. I was scarred from thermo 1 because I got a D- because my professor didn't speak English.
I remember that. Yep.
I was, like, fully going into the final, like, I think I told you, and, like, I told my parents, I was like, I have to retake this class, like, did not jive with this professor. Somehow I ended up passing the final. I don't know how, and then I was like, whatever, I'll just keep going. So I was, like, scarred from thermo 1, but then I took heat transfer with, shout out to Dr. Summers at Miami University. He was amazing, literally so amazing, literally my favorite professor of all times, like, just his note-taking style, like, you know me, how I am with, like, my pens. He would take his notes, like, on, you know how they would use, like, the cameras in class and then put it on, like, the projector, but it was, like, he's writing on a piece of paper. And he would use, like, these, like, same paper mate pens that I like to use, and he would, like, make the notes in 4 different colors, so it was really, like, I'm a very visual person. It was very visually easy to, like, understand his notes, especially if you, like, missed a class. he would post the notes. I don't know. I always went to his office hours. He was just like his teaching style and my learning style just like meshed so well that I think that's why I like did so well in his class. And I don't know. I feel like I understood like the class. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I feel like you have classes where you're learning something and you like either can't see it or like again like visual. Like if I couldn't picture it, I was like I don't understand why I'm solving this problem right now. And like heat transfer, I don't know. Like it just made sense to me for some reason.
Yeah. That was me in like mechanics of material. That was an MME class. And it was like...
I remember that class. It was like really molecular, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like, look at the FFCs, BCB, and I was like, I can't visualize it.
It was like the molecular structures of like the materials or something and how they deform or stress or something like that.
And I was like, I left this in Orgo, and like Orgo we had like the little play kit too, like that we could make the molecules. I don't know if you remember that. But I brought it for the cover pictures.
You would always bring your Orgo kit everywhere.
I know. But, mechanics and materials. So, I think in summary, from what I'm getting from this conversation, it kind of is dependent on the teacher a lot of the times.
Totally.
So,
totally.
Yeah. But did you have any other classes with that teacher?
Yes. Yep. I had, so then that's funny because I had Thermo 2 with him this semester after heat transfer and, terrible experience of Thermo 1. Barely passed, like, terrible grade, and then I got an A in Thermo 2, so I was like, whew, I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
I just, that was a good, it's different topics, but, yeah, I think that is really tough, because, like, I don't know, everyone's gonna like a different professor for a different reason, so it's not like you can go into a major and someone can hand you a list of all the good professors, but wasn't there, like, a way to look up a professor's rating at Miami?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was through Miami or a different website.
No, it was, I don't know what it was called, but it was like
was it
a
just
universal...
called Rate My Professor?
Oh, yeah.
RateMyProfessor.com?
Yeah. It was Rate My Professor. And then we also had through Theta Tau. We talked about this every episode.
Every episode.
Yeah. We had an Excel sheet where people put notes about each professor.
Oh, yeah.
And that was super helpful. Like, they would, like, talk about their teaching style and everything, so, like, you knew which ones to stay away from, and, like, what to expect, I guess, for the other ones. So that was helpful.
Yeah, I remember it was always super tough if there was a semester where it was a class, like, you had to take. Like, if you didn't take it that semester, like, delayed graduation or something, and there was only, like, one professor option. Like, I think that's what ended up happening to me for Thermo 1. Like, there was only one option for my professor, and I knew this professor was, like, extremely low rated. Like, people said that the only reason this professor was at the school was to do their research, and, like, I think to do research, you had to be a professor or something like that. And, I don't know, they didn't really care about the classes they were teaching, they just wanted to accomplish the research, so, but it was the case where there were no other options, like, I had to take, I don't know, it was a big mess. Yeah,
it's okay. We got through it.
What was this person didn't ask the question, but what was your least favorite class?
Mass transfer.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I suggested that for your favorite class.
Yeah, I think it was fine, but it's just like, I don't know, I just don't like the material of it. And I don't know. It's just like the way, because I think it was the first time that professor taught that class. Oh, actually, no. It was my MATLAB class.
Oh my gosh, I remember this class. You went to the office hours so much trying to learn code.
I was so sad. Like, I had my family friends trying to help me that were engineers. Like, oh my god. It was, I freaking hate it. Like, I'm like, I can draw the graph by my hand. Like, I'll draw it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Oh my god. No, that was my least favorite because, one, I just don't like coding. That one, I don't want to learn it.
No.
Unless I have a great business idea and I want to code it, then I'll do it. But I just have no urge.
Then I'll be passionate.
Yeah, but no way. Oh my god. So that's my least favorite. Okay, how about you?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I think probably the class that I had used MATLAB in too, but that was literally like the very first engineering class I ever had to take. And I think I didn't like it.
Was it vibrations?
No.
Oh, okay.
I did like vibrations. Vibrations did have MATLAB. I did not like the MATLAB aspect, but I liked the subject. Like, I liked... Like, that was another one where, like, it was like, what is the vibration in, like, a washing machine or something? And I was like, oh, I know this. Like, I can picture this. But
Yeah.
No, it was like I think it was called like NNE 102. Like it was literally one of the first engineering
like the
classes
like the modeling one or something like.
Yes, and it was like, I think the point of it was to give you like such a broad breadth of like what you could do with an engineering degree. So I remember we had a project where we had to like model and like make from scratch like a foam airplane, and like it had to carry a weight, and we had to like we went on like on the engineering mezzanine.
I remember this. I remember all like my engineering friends taking that, and then like they'd get so sad when it would fail.
Yes, and like sometimes when we were testing, it would like break. Okay, that project I like actually did like, so there were parts of the class that I liked, but then we had this final project, and it was a MATLAB project. Of course, they're like, oh, let's do one final thing to weed these kids out and make them not choose engineering, because it's like one of the first engineering classes you take. Mm-hmm. And we had to create a code that played tic-tac-toe with another person in the class's code. So you had to make sure it was like compatible with everybody else's code. And
interesting.
Like, I don't know, there was some function that you could do that where like he hooked it up, the professor hooked it up, and then it would like play back and forth. And you had to play 1,000 games, and like of course you just hit a button and it does it really quick. And you had, in order to like get a passing grade, your code had to win at least one time. And another part of this, like, and by the way, like this is like the second engineering class I've ever taken. Like, how does he think? Whatever. It literally gets me so heated because I'm so frustrated by the project. In the code, you had to make it so, like, while you were playing tic-tac-toe, you didn't like. You know, in tic-tac-toe, there's like 9 squares you can choose from. Mm. It was like you either had a 1 or a 0 for X's and O's, and you could not play a square twice, and you like twice in a row, and you could not play a square, obviously, if someone else had played it.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how. I'm pretty sure I like begged, borrowed, and sealed my way with one of my classmates who was a really quiet person who was really good at MATLAB, and I'm pretty sure I just met with him like every day, and I was like, hey, do you think you would help me out? Like, I really don't know MATLAB, and he like helped me through it. But I remember even when I was dating someone who had graduated with a mechanical engineering degree at that point, I brought the problem to him, and I was like, hey, do you think you can help me do this? And he couldn't even figure out how to do it, so
yeah.
I hated that class because of that MATLAB project.
I know. It's always the best when you ask, like, practicing engineers, like, hey, can you help me with this? Yeah. And they can't even do it. And you're like, what the fuck? Why am I doing it? Like, why am I learning this?
He was like, why are you trying to code how to play tic-tac-toe? I was like, I don't know. I'm trying to pass this class. But the best part is...
this is my free time. I said, this is what I do in my free time.
Exactly. The best part was that you couldn't, like, in order to pass the final... Your tic-tac-toe had to win once out of 1,000 times, and my code won one time. One time.
Thank God.
You're like 1,000 plays.
It's like 997. You're like 997. You're like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose it, and then it wins. And you're like, thank God.
Yeah. And of course, I'm like, I got paired to play against like the most competitive guy in the class, who was like, I'm gonna be the most greatest engineer of my entire world, and he like. When he won that 999 times, he literally looked at me and he was like, ha! I beat you! And I was like, oh my God, get me out of this class immediately. I can't do this right now.
You're like, all right, let's do it manually. Let's see who wins.
I was like, do you want a gold star? Good for you. Yeah. The assignment was to pass at least one time, and that's what I did.
That's so funny.
But.
Amazing.
Okay, awesome. I think we could we should definitely do in the future, like, with a little bit more research, we should do an episode where we go back and like look at our coursework and say like what we really liked about the classes, what we thought was helpful, like kind of like the slides that we put together for the SWE presentation. Like there's 2 at the end. That'd be a cool episode.
Ooh, but that would be good. All right.
Anyway,
well, we got through 3. We're at
going.
4. Do you want to do?
Are you sure? One more.
You have to drive to Minnesota. This is your call.
It's okay. Let's do one more.
Okay.
Might as well.
All right. Do you want to just honor? Yeah, you pick.
Oh my God, I don't know, but they're both so good.
I know.
I feel like, should we do the last one? Because we kind of usually touch on the fourth one for those listening,
let's do the
we're
last one.
looking at our list and trying to determine which question to answer next. Okay, so the last question we're going to go through for this episode is, what is the importance of getting internships/doing research during the summers? And I think this is such a good question, and I think it's something we're both so passionate about because, drumroll please, of Theta Tau! Theta Tau gave us the importance of doing internships that I guess if I wouldn't have had Theta Tau, I probably wouldn't have known, like what the point of getting an internship is.
Yeah, I will say Theta Tau got me so nervous about. So this is something I wanted to talk about with like this question was, if you don't get an internship, it's not the end of the world. Mm-hmm. But this is what I was like very, very focused. I had an internship the summer after my sophomore year. So it's sophomore, junior, and then I was doing research during school. So I was like freaked out, type A, OCD, like freaking out to Libby. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to get a job, or I'm just going to,
But then you had like so much on your resume, like.
Yes. Yeah, so I think.
Incredible.
So I think it is important, and it is helpful to get internships and do this, do research, but it also comes with like so many layers. I feel like this is like all of our questions. So for research, you can be like, I was interviewing for labs that they were saying the first year, we just need you to clean. I was like, okay, like clean the beakers.
Oh my God, they're like, I didn't know this.
Yeah, so that was more in the chemistry department. So then I was like interviewing for the other lab, and then the one that I did, he was starting out, so I got really lucky that.
Wait, when you're saying interviewing for labs, when you do research, do you have to interview with the professors? Kind of like getting a job?
Yeah, kind of. They obviously want to meet you, so like I would email them, say, like I'm so interested in your research, because okay, let me go through the whole process.
Yeah,
so
give us a background.
So I knew I wanted to do research, so I went to the Miami page and I went to faculty. I was looking at the chemistry as well as the chemical engineering. It was like the chemical and bioengineering were in the same department. I was looking at their web pages, and then each professor kind of had a page or website that explained what their research was.
Okay.
So I went through like emails. I think it was like, I did way more professors in the chemistry department. I got one answer back, and then I went and met with her in her office, and then she's like, yeah, for the first year you'll be cleaning beakers, up to you,
wow,
we'd be happy to have you, but you won't be doing like any actual research until year end. So I was like, okay. So then I emailed a few professors in the engineering department.
And
a lot of them.
Quick question, sorry to interrupt, what year in school are you at this point?
So it's like middle of freshman year.
Okay.
So I started with my research lab going into sophomore year. So I knew like I needed like a little heads up. And like, yeah, I couldn't even get into that chemistry lab for like another semester. So then starting from that semester, I'd have a year of cleaning beakers, and then I'd get into research at like my junior year? Okay, no. I get really good at cleaning. You have wine glasses? Let me clean them for you. Like, so that one I was like kind of like, I was like, okay, whatever, I can still put on my resume, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But then I interviewed with the other lab. It was just starting out, so that's where I got really lucky, and I got really hands-on with that, which again, sometimes it was very stressful. There would be times where I'd be crying as Libby, like after like my professor would make me feel so sad. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I forgot the beaker in the fridge, like it froze or something like that. Like it was just so it was very hands-on. But
so they have like, I guess I never really asked you about this, but is it basically like the professors have this research that they want to accomplish, and do they have someone to report the research to, or is it just like they themselves are trying to get it done as fast as possible?
Yeah. So I think, it looks good for the school, but they also win more grants and win, more money basically if they make progress with their research. So I think it's more of like an individual encouragement. I don't even know if that's the right word, but kind of like they have their individual goals. Like for my professor, we got published, he made a really good, he got a lot of money, millions for the school. So now I think he got tenure, and he was there for maybe 2 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like they give preference to the professors that bring the most money in for the school. So obviously Miami took a lot of the money, but he has that recognition now. He has that on his name, which is awesome. It was great getting interviewed by NPR. It was cool. But so basically what I wanted to talk about with that is you can have this research, but then there's different levels. So like you could be cleaning a beaker, or you could be doing like real research. So, maybe it looks good, but again, like if you don't get research, don't be too stressed, because a lot of times maybe some people are just literally cleaning beakers and they're spinning it and
Yeah.
I wouldn't say lying about it, but they're just not doing like what they say they are sometimes. And like you can spin anything for a job. Like you can spin. I know that you worked as a waitress, right? So you most likely spun that. You know, I'm multitasking.
I spun that like a spinning top.
That's funny. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. How about that? So say someone does not get any internships. Okay, you have like a lot of internship experience. You had your co-op. You were gone for like a whole semester. You had so much experience. But what advice would you give to someone who doesn't have that experience? Maybe they have like a retail job and they're trying to apply that to engineering.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
So I strongly have the stance that if you are going to get your engineering degree, and if you decided not to or weren't able to get any internships throughout all 4 years, and you did have, like waitressing jobs or retail jobs or something else, I really believe that you should find another way to get involved in some sort of a project, because ultimately I think, especially based on like now what I know from working at companies post-grad, like we said in the last episode, I think we mentioned this, everything is a group project. So if you can show that like you contributed in some quantitative way to like a greater good or like a greater common goal, you can certainly put that on your resume. And examples I'm thinking of is, I don't know, these are really weird examples, but maybe it's because I live out in the middle of nowhere. But like if you live by a farm, maybe approach the people on the farm. Maybe like, if you're mechanical or industrial, and be like, oh, I'm getting my engineering degree. Is there any like shadowing or volunteer work that I can do? Or is there anything that I don't know, maybe that's a stupid example. Or getting involved with like organizations. Like, we talked with Kayla on episode 2, and she was involved with Engineers Without Borders, and they do a whole thing where they like make a clean water filtration system for people in Africa. Like, that is an incredibly huge undertaking to, be a part of, that if you don't have the internship experience, you can have that. So I really think if you're going to do engineering, you need to have something like that on your resume. And if it's not going to be research, internships, or co-ops, like take initiative, find something else. Maybe it's not paid, or maybe it's like, I think even we talked with Caitlin, cybersecurity girl, she mentioned how she even likes to see people take on like personal projects, put that on their resume, and how they can like make that experience applicable to like what they're trying to apply for. I don't know.
Definitely.
I don't know. That gives me anxiety, like, and maybe it's just because of like, the environment that we went to college in, but I always felt like I was so behind with, and maybe, again, type A, we just need to calm down. But I always felt like, oh my God, I need, like, it is life or death. Like, I need to get an internship. And again, I'm probably being dramatic, but that's just how I felt. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I was completely the same way. And if you maybe don't have, so those are all very good things to add, but also maybe talking about, if you have more room on your resume, talk about some projects that you did in class too, and kind of elaborate on that.
That too. Oh,
but I do like what you said, like personal projects, but I'm like trying to think as a chemical engineer, what personal products. Oh, I made my own skincare line. I was on that kick for a while.
Yeah. Or like, I don't know, like, oh, I was helping my mom clean the kitchen, and I noticed we had some grime that was very hard to clean, so I came up with a new solution for, I don't know, I just kind of pulled that one out of my butt, but I'm just trying to think of like, I don't know, if this is what you want to do, like, put yourself in the employer's shoes. If I'm an employer and I take you in for an interview for your first job out of college, and you've never had an internship, and you've never taken on a personal project, and you don't really have any schoolwork, why are you applying for the job?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that harsh?
No, I don't think so. Sometimes you have to be harsh. But but okay, another good thing, if you want to go into med device, maybe volunteer at a hospital, maybe volunteer at a clinic or something. That could be something, because I did do that, but I did that for the intention of being, pre-med and getting those hours. Or maybe shadowing too, because obviously people are going to be like, oh, well, how are you going to spend that if you're going to volunteer at the front desk, or like volunteer like to clean rooms, or like bring patients in and out? Well, you can spin it in the way that you're like, okay, I'm familiar with these devices, and like I'll understand I understand how they work, so then therefore I'll understand what the testing requirements might be, or like can critically think about that aspect. So that's another way.
And
Okay.
even just, I think even just, like, the corporate jargon, like, here we are in the beginning of this episode, talked about how difficult it is to acclimate to a new role and learn all this stuff. If you can show a potential employer that you've been in that environment and you already know that, that's something that they don't have to take time teaching you. Or, like, in our episode with Kat, she mentioned how she got her internship and jobs with NASA because she went on and looked at what softwares they're using and just took it upon herself to learn those. That's another thing that, like, if you don't have, if you can't speak to any internship experience, start learning software and put that on your resume too.
Mm-hmm. Good points. I like how you're bringing in all these episodes.
I know. I'm
trying
to give you guys Easter eggs. Go listen if you haven't. But I guess, like, just to bring it back to the original question was, what is the importance? I think if you want a serious career in engineering, I think it is important that you have something to show for in this industry and show that you're passionate about something. Because, like, maybe if you're, I don't know, I don't want to say, like, if you're not passionate, maybe you should think about doing something else, but just try to think of it from an employer's point of view. I don't want to say that they're not going to hire you if you don't have an internship, because you can definitely have all those other things that we just talked about on your resume, and that could also provide you a strong place as a candidate to a future company.
True.
I don't know. Do you have anything else, like, you want to touch on for importance? I personally think it's very important. Like, I don't know if you guys could tell from the tone of my voice, but it's very important, and I think that's what this podcast is here to help you with. If you don't know, and if you're thinking, oh, what is the importance? Like, I'm here to tell you. It's important, and we got you, and we will help you, and we will be your professional buddies.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely, in summary, it should be on your radar, and I think it is very important, and it does give you a one-up, maybe against other candidates that don't have that experience. But don't freak out too much if you don't have it, because we'll help with other ways. That would be interesting to do, like, a episode just of, like, and break it down into each type of engineering and kind of talk about what they can do if they don't have internship stuff.
That would
so many episode options.
Yeah, and like, even if you ask this question and you were kind of like, oh, I'm a senior about to graduate and I haven't had any of that, like, we just listed all these things that you can potentially put, and I'm not saying that it's the end of the world, because it's not. Think of all the other things that you can spin to put on your resume to show that you have that background experience.
Oh, so. No, you just broke up, but I think...
Oh, no.
That sounds good. Awesome. All right. Well, we got through our 4 questions. That's literally all we do every time.
I know.
It's very on brand for us.
It's very 4 must be our lucky number.
Yeah. I'm, like, looking at the live right now. I'm like, hello.
Is it still going? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is.
That's just so exciting. So for our listeners, we're recording this on May 12th. We decided to go live. So that was exciting. We're just...
Yeah, I think...
It is... Yeah. We're always trying new things.
I think one thing that could be good is that if you put one on your phone as well, because I feel like they only hear my side.
Oh.
So next time we'll make some improvements, but...
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get you to Minnesota.
Oh, gosh. I still haven't packed.
Oh, dude. Brett's going to be so mad. Brett's probably waiting.
No. And my mom and Brett are sitting in the living room chatting
away. Oh, that's so funny. Good.
Tell her
I said hi.
Yeah. I was like, you guys, we got the podcast. You better wait for me.
That's so
I'm
funny.
driving you, so you have to wait for me. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for listening. As always, please be sure to give us a 5-star rating and review, and share this podcast with your friends on social media. We just want to reach as many people as we possibly can, young and old, any age, just to help them out, especially as we're all trying to navigate being a woman in STEM. And if you do choose to leave a review or share the podcast, make sure you check out the Google form in our show notes like we mentioned originally, and you can enter for a giveaway.
Yes. Awesome. And check out our Insta bio for that survey and then for the Facebook group as well. So one of the questions was, how do you make more friends in STEM? We're going to try and help you.
Check out the Facebook group. Yep, we're there to help. Lots of future events coming up with that. So.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited. I'm excited. We have a lot of good things coming up.
We have a lot of things on our action item list to be corporate.
Right? Yeah. Our hot pink action item list on a Google to-do list. So I'm like,
I know. We need to update that soon. We need deadlines and stakeholders and completion dates
and notes.
All right. Well, where can they find you, Lexi?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Engineer Lexi. I almost hit 500 followers on TikTok.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
You've had a couple of videos that I've seen pop up that are like getting traction.
I'm like, come on. I'm like, what do you guys want? What do you guys want?
You did one about like you were like when someone says something, you look to your coworker and you're like. That one made me giggle.
Good. I just like post them and I'm like, oh my god, actually at the wedding, someone texted me, like I'm like in the middle of the wedding dancing, like haha, you know? And and someone texted me and they sent me my TikTok and it was like one of like the transition, like not the thirst trap, but like where you transition like from when you're ready,
you like put the
unready
down,
to ready.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my god, you're killing it. I've been seeing you all over my For You page. I was like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. I was like, oh, thank you so much. But I'm like, I try to forget that people can, like, see that stuff. Like,
I know.
I'm like,
I just, like, ignore. Like, I was getting really in my head the other day about, like, because I'm posting my career change journey on TikTok, and it's getting one of the videos hit 1 million views. Like, it's getting some traction.
Yeah.
And I got really nervous. I was like, that's a lot of people, and a lot of those people could work where I now work.
Yeah.
But it's better just to, ignorance is bliss. That's
I just post it and I like put my phone away. I'm like, oh my god. But yes, so you can find me there. Where can they find you? You're at like 93,000. You're like hitting it. You're crazy.
Yeah, so if you guys want to know more about the career change that I just did, head over to my TikTok and my Instagram at LibbyB on the label. And then if you guys want to follow our podcast, I would definitely recommend checking out the Instagram at least and the TikTok at My Best Friends in Engineer, especially because we have resources on those pages like our Facebook group, the Google form, other templates, like just it's a good place, especially if you're looking to connect with more women in STEM or in the industry. Head over there and check it out.
Yes, especially if we're going to start putting our episodes on live. I think that could be fun. So just like for people who might not listen to the podcast anyway and they follow our Instagram, maybe they'll be able to get tidbits and stuff.
Yeah, we'll pop up.
Oh yeah, you know us. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm Lexi.
Take it away. Okay,
it was already. It was taken. It was already taken away.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
It's okay. All right. Okay. I'm Lexi. Oh my god. Wait, I have a weird bubble in my throat.
Oh, okay. Redo. Take 3.
I'm Lexi.
And I'm Libby.
And thanks for listening
to My Best Friends
and Engineer.
Yeah.